So just this past week, we've had the international break and we've had the FA Cup this weekend, and we're just jumping on straight on to have a reaction to some of those key important games that have taken place. I think we need to start with one place and one place only, and that is Arsenal getting beaten by Southampton.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't necessarily agree with the majority of online fan reaction. I've seen that it's been quite negative towards Arteta and stuff like that, saying he's had the opportunity to win 24 trophies and he's not won any or something. I don't know whether that's strictly true or not. I don't really know. But it's almost just like, I get it. It's disappointing and it's a rubbish result in the grand scheme of things playing Southampton. I thought that the team that you started with and the subs that you made, I thought that I was strong enough to win the game. But ultimately, at this point in the season, I think the majority of Arsenal fans will agree with me on this. All of the eggs are in the Premier League basket, aren't they? Surely.
Absolutely, everything is, and that's the problem with the team that you put out. But that team was good enough to win.
Yeah, it
I
was,
wasn't looking at it. I knew he played that similar sort of side. I knew he played Kepa in goal. I knew that Mosquera would play alongside either Gabriel or Saliba, depending on which one was fit.
Yeah.
I thought Ben White had a nightmare all night, though.
Oh, was it the Southampton first goal, was it, where he goes up to head it and he goes over him and it just falls to the lad behind him? Yeah, it's not
He had a great
look,
game,
is it?
that Leo Sinistera. He had a great game.
Sinistera, yeah,
He had a great game.
He did.
So did Ross Stewart up front as well.
Yeah.
He had a really good game.
I thought I quite like that Finazaz as well in the 10 for Southampton. I thought he was decent.
Yeah, and they've been on a massive run of form. They've not lost in 14 games or something like that.
No, they're flying, to be fair, they're flying. But
Yeah.
I suppose when you get, you have the Carabao Cup final, which obviously was disappointing for Arsenal. Then you have the long 2-week break, and you really think, okay, they'll go and kick into gear again now and just have that mental reset and just go and beat Southampton like everyone was expecting them to do. But almost like they're still trying to get over that hump, which obviously you have to get over it sooner rather than later because City are coming up in a couple of weeks. You know that the run-in is coming. If it's not started already, it's definitely going to start. But yeah, City
look on a different level than they at the minute.
It's almost like it's almost like it's done polar opposites. That Carabao Cup final. It's almost like it's sunk a new lot, like mentally and physically, and you just go, you got to go again. Whereas City, it's almost like it's just flicked a switch on them. It's just lighted a fire, and they're just gone. Yep, we're still here, and we're gonna go all the way to the end.
They looked on that last night. They looked ready to take the league, and we do not look like ready to take the league. We've got a massive game, literally tomorrow night. We've got a massive game against Sporting. It's a massive game, and it's weird because in the Champions League, especially when you play away first, you can afford to lose the game. You can afford to lose it and then come back the next game and hopefully win at home. I really want us to go and to beat them, though. I want Gyökeres to go and score. He's in a flying form at the minute, isn't he? Flying form.
Yeah, but not necessarily in an Arsenal shirt. Not like you'd want him to be, I suppose. I mean, you'd want him to be like Erling Haaland scoring a hat-trick against Southampton. But he scored goals for Sweden, didn't he? And he did score
17 goals he scored for us this season so far. 17. And that's what they were saying. If someone scores 17 goals for Arsenal, I can't remember the last time, probably Aubameyang, probably the last time someone scored 17 in all competitions. I can't remember who else did. I think and he scores the hat-trick in the week. His hat-trick was really good as well in the week. It's just typical Gyökeres. The first one, he taps it in.
Yeah.
From a cross that comes in, similar to the one that he did last night, where he literally the pull back from Kai Havertz and then he smashes it in. And then you've got the other one that was he shapes it onto his left foot, and when he shapes it onto his left foot, he always wants to try and have a go, and he has a go and he scores, and then he scores the penalty as well to send them through in that game, and then the next game afterwards, obviously they won again. But big up Sweden for getting through, and Graham Potter.
No, just quickly on Gyökeres, I think 17 goals in all competitions is a good return, especially for his first season playing in a team like Arsenal. But unfortunately, and this goes for other strikers, I think this goes for like João Pedro, goes for Ben Sesko, It goes for, Nick Voltemade at Newcastle, who's had a decent season. I just think that everyone's like almost put up on a poster next to Erling Haaland because Erling Haaland gets 17 goals just in the league,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's the problem. I think everyone's expecting, the big name strikers who play for these big clubs. Isak, if he didn't get injured, you'd imagine he probably would have been up there as well. But that's 17 goals is brilliant in all comps. But it's almost like to kick on, you really have to just be getting 17 goals just in the Premier League, especially this time in the season. And then you have to contribute with goals elsewhere as well.
We are
But
really lacking with creativity all round, not just in that game, but in all the games that we played. We are
yeah,
massively lacking in creativity. It's crazy. Like last night, we were so slow again. But they look
yeah,
nervous. Mentality-wise, mentally, they look gone. They look shot. And that
yeah,
game, you think it's that was 2 weeks ago now. And
yeah.
like you're playing
That's
Southampton,
yeah.
we've got to go there and win comfortably. And we beat them convincingly when we played at their place. We absolutely smashed them. Will
Yeah,
it be the same this time? I'm not sure because I really didn't think that they'd beat Burda, but they did. And they absolutely dismantled them, didn't they? But again,
yeah, they
Burda
did. Yeah,
mentally, they completely collapsed.
yeah. It
So it'd be an
this
interesting game, this next one, because we got Bournemouth after that. That's a massive, massive game. And they're an hard side, and we really struggle against them.
Well, in the last podcast, you said there's a good point away at Bournemouth, but I'm pretty certain Arsenal fans now they'd take a point away at, well, I suppose you are at home to
We've got to
Bournemouth, I
win.
suppose.
We've got to win. We've
But
got to win. A point's not good enough.
I think them being knocked out of the Champions League might actually be a blessing for them. I know that obviously they were disappointed, and obviously they were probably one of the favourites to win it. But you think between now and then, that extra period of time, less chance of injury, less chance of fatigue, more time to recover and get the mentality back. You'd think you wouldn't want Man City in that position, would you? I
So
mean, being top of the league, yeah, you
Man
wouldn't want them in
City
that
have got
position.
Man City have got Chelsea away, and then obviously they play us at home.
See,
So
um,
thought last night Christian Norgard was rubbish. I don't think he's been very good since we signed him at all. I think he was
no,
rubbish. Thought Ben White had a really poor game, and normally I'm big Ben White's biggest advocate. He was
yeah,
bad last night.
yeah, he was.
But the Kai Havertz, he just looked in reverse. He looks so slow. I don't know
Yeah,
why that is. I've never seen that from him. He just looks so slow,
it's
so
almost like
lethargic.
some of the boys. Obviously, you Christian Norgards of the Arsenal squad. They don't play week in week out, do they? And I suppose Kai hasn't, to be fair, this season due to injuries and stuff like that. But you think you got to get yourself up for this game. Not necessarily because you think you're going to be playing against Bournemouth on the weekend, but I think even though, yeah, a majority of your side that you put out was, your not your reserves, but like your second string almost of your starting squad, but you've got to go because them winning that game will help the other boys, your Declan Rices, your Gyökeres's, your Bukayo Saka's, your Martinelli's. I know Martinelli did play, but
Yeah, and he
you
was
know
poor. He did
that,
nothing in the game. Erdegaard, I thought had a really good game to be fair, because that's his first one back.
yeah,
Kai Havertz I thought was slow, as I said. Gabriel Jesus didn't do enough for me, and I'm going to stick by it. I'm going to say it on the podcast. Lewis Skelly is the worst Arsenal left back to play since Andre Santos, and I say that
that is,
because he was this time last year when he was propping up at Real Madrid and having the game that he did. He was outstanding. He was unbelievable. His
yeah,
defending was on point. His attacking was brilliant. His driving inside. Yes, he's not been backed by Arteta since the summer, and obviously bringing in Calafiori and then playing Hincapié at left back as well. He's not been helped, and I think his confidence has massively been shot. But I feel like you've got to take the chance where it's the opportunity to happen.
yeah,
And
yeah,
he clearly wants to play in midfield. He kept inverting last night and going into the inside and receiving the ball, driving through people. Yeah, he was really effective at that point, but actually defending as a left back, he's just been poor. And I think he's been the worst one since Andre Santos. I think he's poor.
I think he not necessarily the type. I suppose it is the type of left back. He reminds me a lot of when you used to play Zinchenko at left back in
Absolutely
the
car
big
crash. Oh
in the
my
big
God.
games. In the less, but you think is though, you think Lewis Skelly playing last night is the equivalent of Zinchenko playing in that game if he was still at Arsenal. Like
Hmm.
Zinchenko would have played, but Zinchenko would have done a better job than Miles Lewis Skelly, I feel.
Zinchenko technically was outstanding. I loved him. Obviously, I got him on the back of my shirt. Absolutely loved him because of the
Yeah,
technical quality that he brought. And at the time when we brought him, when we were trying to go for the league, he and Gabi Jesus completely changed the mentality of the club. I'm looking now when he's in big games against like Liverpool when he was getting done by Salah. But Miles Skelly is exactly the same. He's just getting done by wingers. He's so easy to play against, it seems. Unless he's going shoulder to shoulder with you, body to body with you. But he's got excellent control and dribble, and he's able to like dribble into the midfield, really, especially in that Real Madrid game. The reason why he's so successful is because that space would open up into the middle and he'd just drop his shoulder and then drive inside, eventually going on his right foot but still staying on his left. So he'd drive into the right, drive into
yeah,
there, create opportunities, create chaos. But he's never kicked on from that. And the lack of Arteta, pushing him really. But a
yeah.
lad who was our best player last night, our best player by an absolute country mile, and it can't be the case, but he is exciting me every single time that he plays, is Max Dowman. He is so exciting to watch. His touch, his control, his confidence, his balls to just take the game and just go, oh no, I'm driving past you, And I thought he would get that Ryan Manning sent off because the amount of times he just goes and goes and goes. But
Yeah.
he's learning little bits. He's learning like the one where he drove down the outside, sorry, and he should have pulled it back, but he decided to go for a shot. And it's just little
Yeah.
things like that. He'll learn, he'll develop. He always wants it on his left foot, always wants to take that shot. But for 16 years old, he is so talented, so talented.
100%. I mean, the kid plays with no fear, doesn't he? And I feel like, especially when you get to this point in the season where Arsenal are, sometimes you just need a little bit of that. Sometimes you just need, okay, like the pressure's not really on him, is it? And I think he knows it. I think he's just going to go in there and he's just going to go and play. And he's just going to get people off their seat and he's just going to go and show Arteta what he can actually do. I completely agree. The tactical side of it and the decision making, he'll learn that because
He
he's a
will.
young lad. He's only
He will.
16 years old. But in terms of like being exciting for Arsenal fans to watch, thinking, oh, this young lad's coming through, he's going to be pushing, hopefully, we'll be pushing Bukayo for that right hand side spot. But again, I I really, really hope, because I thought Miles Lewis Skelly last season was unbelievable for Arsenal. And when I've seen Max Dowman play this year, I felt the same way. What I fear happens is if Arsenal don't win the league, how is Max Dowman's development going to continue? Because you look at it and you go, okay, well you've got the wingers that you've got. Okay, you've got Bukayo, he's always going to play on the right, isn't he? In the big games, he's always going to play.
I said
You
he
got
was in
Nani.
danger of his starting place last season. I thought when we signed
He's
Madueke, I thought he would really, really push him. And he
well to
hasn't
be
quite consistently.
No, not consistently. In bursts, I've always felt like Madueke was more dangerous than Bukayo. At certain
Yeah,
points in the season, I've always
yeah,
thought that he was more dangerous than him.
yeah,
And then obviously on the other side of the wing, you've got Martinelli, who I think is awful.
yeah,
But
pony.
I thought he's been awful for
He's been
ever since
absolutely
you bought
pony.
him.
He's awful. Yeah. But
Le
scored
Leand,
massive moments and massive games.
yeah,
Works really hard, but sometimes that's just not enough.
and
You got to have some
you know
quality.
You do in the consistency as well. Martinelli, like you say, he can win. He can win you a game. If you bring him on with 20 minutes to go and it's 2-2, 9 times out of 10, Martinelli's going to be involved in the goal because you wouldn't want to play against him, would you, as a
No,
fullback the last
no.
20 minutes? But unfortunately, to be starting week in week out for Arsenal, he doesn't have that consistency. Now I know Arteta likes Leandro Trossard off the left. And I know that Eze can play off there as well. So with that group of wingers, not including Max Dowman, if Arsenal don't win the league, how is his development going to continue? A bit like Miles Lewis Skelly's. Do you think Miles Lewis, obviously, you didn't win the league last year?
Yeah, it's whether I think what you're trying to say is whether they're going to go and buy ready-made players on that in his
Yeah,
position.
and that's my fear because it basically happened with Miles Lewis Skelly last year because he's not a bad footballer and he's not a bad left back in my opinion, but the lack of development and the lack of opportunity he's had
His
this season
development
to
has
develop
massively
them.
been stifled. Yeah, massively.
Yeah, and I really, really hope that Max Dowman's isn't the same. That's all I say. I really hope it's not.
So just moving on from Arsenal. So obviously Chelsea won 7-0 last night against Port Vale.
Yep.
Seemed to be a statement from Rossignol to try and get the fans back on side, I think, and get the media back on side.
I'd say so, but I think there's only a certain amount of things that a 7-0 win over Port Vale can do for you. I mean, Chelsea should be beating them 7-0. You should be, shouldn't you? You should just be beating them, and that's no disrespect to Port Vale, but the size of club the size of Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, you should be pumping them 7-0. But unfortunately, there's still loads of talk. Obviously, this Enzo Fernandez stuff before the game and after the game. Obviously, you've got all like the team sheet like leaks and stuff like that. Like, I'm completely fine with United getting £40 million for Alejandro Garnacho, but the fact that the boy can't start against Port Vale at home
Yeah.
is yeah, I saw their starting 11. I really thought, I expected to see Lavia. I expected to see Andre Santos. I did expect to see them sorts of players, but I don't know whether Liam Delap's injured or not. But the fact that João Pedro's starting against Port Vale at home against him, you got Garnacho on the bench and stuff like that. I mean, you would have thought that would have been the perfect game for them type of players. You would have thought, anyway.
Anyway, so England. I want to react to some of the England stuff for the international break.
Yep.
First of all, let's talk about the senior players dropping out of the squad. What did you make of some of the senior players deciding to come home and the fact that the entire Arsenal team is injured across all of Europe? Apart from Kai Havertz and Calafiori, I think everybody, and Gyökeres, everyone was injured on international duty.
Well, I'll put it in air quotes, injured, because
Yep.
Gabriel was supposed to be injured and he played obviously against Southampton last night.
Came off with a knee injury, but yeah.
Yeah, but how is he really injured? Is he really injured? Look, from a club standpoint, if Man United were where Arsenal are, would I want all of the top players playing on international duty this close to the end of the season, risking injury? Absolutely not.
And you did
Absolutely
it for
not.
years.
We
Sir
did it
Alex
for
pulled
years.
them out for years.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
hearing someone on the radio, they were saying, has Ryan Giggs ever played for Wales in a friendly? It's like, I don't know if he has.
Probably not. Probably not.
But in
Like,
big games, if it doesn't matter, then they're not playing. Them two friendlies are pointless. Why are we playing those two friendlies? They're pointless. I feel like we've gained nothing out of them. I feel like Tuchel is... I'm not sure on him. I'm really not. I think we're going to go out in the groups. And I know we're going to do a World Cup predictor soon, but I think the whole culture there is just different since he's gone in. I think he's expecting people to be pushed and challenged. And obviously we know about Gareth Southgate and how he worked. Everyone knew their role in the team. We were speaking about this last time. Everyone knew their role in the team. Under Tuchel, does everyone know their role? I'm not sure they do. And I think that's a really bad thing. I think you need to understand who the starting 11 is. Apart from Harry Kane, everyone seems like there's a position up to be grabbed. And I don't think that can happen.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I agree. I hate the March international break. I think it's stupid. Pointless is the correct word to use. I just think, why are they having 2 weeks worth of extra games when they don't need to be played? Especially in a World Cup year. Finish the season 2 weeks earlier than it finishes. Let the players have 2 weeks holiday before they go to the World Cup.
Absolutely.
Why are they playing these 2 week pointless games, especially for the countries that have already qualified? Like England, for example, completely pointless.
For some people, it looks like, their performances have even ruled them out. And I don't even think, like, his post-match comments that he was making at the end were just bizarre. Like, he's saying that Foden might not be part of the squad. Like, why are you bringing that up initially after the game? I think it's bizarre management.
Yeah.
There's also another game that was on in the bar, and it was playing throughout the entire time, was Al Ghafara in the Qatari League. And Hosselu plays for them. What a blast from the past. Al Hosselu.
Champions League legend, Real Madrid legend, Hosselu.
But there was this lad, it also plays for him as well, is Aaron Gunnarsson. He used to play for Cardiff.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Gunnarsson, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, Gunnarsson, yeah.
And but they had a lad playing on the wing, number 11. His name is Surag, But what a player on the wing, mate! So tricky. The one, it's like jump up and then
Yeah.
flick it round the back.
Yeah.
Jumps up, flicks it round the back. Number 11, Cesarek. Oh, brilliant. Absolutely
I'm
brilliant.
hoping. Well, hopefully some of the Premier League scouts will be watching this pod, because then they'll sign him and then he'll turn out to be absolutely rubbish.
Absolutely rubbish. Ireland, Northern Ireland, and Wales all out of contention for the World Cup going out in that first game. So that means only England and Scotland are the teams that will be from the British Isles in the World Cup.
Now, when I first saw, I'll start with Wales. When I first saw that Wales got knocked out by Bosnia, I thought game could have gone either way. Obviously, they lost on penalties, if I'm not mistaken. They lost on
Yeah,
penalties.
yeah.
Game could have
Unbelievable
gone,
goal from Dan James.
yeah,
Unbelievable goal.
only turns up for Wales, Dan James. Um, which I suppose Wales fans aren't really that bothered about, to be honest. But yeah, I thought game could have gone either way. Obviously, losing on penalties is always heartbreaking, but I just thought, I mean, this was before the game actually happened. I really thought, okay, well, Wales or Bosnia, you're going to be playing Italy in the next round. You're not, hollow,
But I think Wales could have beat
speaking in
Italy.
hindsight. Well, it turns out Bosnia could have beat Italy as well. But but yeah, and then Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. I can't say I watched like the games. I've obviously seen clips and stuff like that and seen highlights, but I don't know. It's Wales have always been the one. Well, obviously England at major tournaments 99% of the time. Wales recently, obviously, they've been there quite a good amount of times. Obviously, done
Yeah,
quite
and got
well in some
further than
European.
England in some of them. Yeah.
Yeah, did quite well in European Championships and stuff like that. Scotland as well. I think they've got enough players, especially nowadays, where you can go, okay, yeah, they've got enough to qualify. Um, the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland just unfortunately don't have, not necessarily a superstar, but don't have enough good enough players around them. Like, you think when Wales were qualifying, okay, yeah, Gareth Bale was your main man, but you had a solid back four. You had Aaron Ramsey in there making things tick. You had a good, solid, seasoned veterans playing in a Wales team, and they knew how to win. Scotland these days, obviously, you've got the likes of Scott McTominay who's tearing it up for Napoli. You got obviously John McGinn, among others, and you think they've got a good enough spine in that team at least to make it to major tournaments. Unfortunately, and this has been, not even this has been going on for years and years and years. Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland don't seem to ever be able to make that proper core, and it's unfortunate, because you'd want them to be involved in tournaments. Why wouldn't you be? Why wouldn't you want
Yeah, the
them involved
fans are
in
brilliant.
tournaments?
The Irish fans
Yeah.
and the Northern Ireland fans, you'd love them at a tournament. They bring the atmosphere, they bring the energy that you want.
Oh,
But unfortunately,
in the
but
state,
for
in the
me,
states as well. In the states as well.
it's the likes of Congo. They qualified, haven't they?
Yeah.
DR Congo and Cape Verde. These countries that are qualifying, and don't get me wrong, they've all got there for a reason. They've got there on merit. They're winning games. They've got there. But if the likes of DR Congo, the likes of Cape Verde are qualifying for a World Cup, the likes of Iraq are qualifying for a World Cup,
Well, I'm
there are
pretty certain Panama's in England's group again. Like, how Panama qualifying for? I mean, obviously they've done well enough to
it's
qualify.
sporting merit, but it's not right for me. I feel like the qualifying system, yes, they want everyone from the world, and it's representing different parts of the world, but for me, it should be on sporting meritocracy. It should be on, again, but I'm probably defeating my own argument, aren't I? Obviously, clearly, Ireland, Northern Ireland, and Wales are not good enough to be in the World Cup, and Cape Verde and DR Congo, Iraq, they obviously are. Bosnia, they obviously are good enough because they've worked there.
Yeah, well, now that you've just mentioned Bosnia, I think we should talk about them taking it out to the mighty Italy.
They failed to reach the past 3 World Cups.
Yeah, that is just. Well, when I saw that Bosnia had obviously beaten them, and we came through you get all your Twitter notifications and stuff, don't you? And you get, you see all these you see all this stuff on your feed and everything like that. Oh, Italy haven't. I was like, that can't be true. When you just look at something, you think it can't be true. and it actually is true, and
The
that is
players that they've got in
mind-boggling.
their team, the players they've got, it's crazy. And obviously Gattuso is their manager. And is it something like Gattuso? Was he playing in the last time that they were in the World Cup? It's something like that. I don't know. Definitely the last time they
What
won
doesn't
it.
what doesn't surprise? He's definitely playing for when they won it. It wouldn't surprise me. When was the last time they would have been in it then?
2014, wasn't it?
Was that
2014.
so they would have missed 2022,
Yeah.
missed 2018. So if they've been at the last, yeah. So if they didn't qualify for this one, so not this one, 2022 and 2018. So yeah,
Yeah.
2014 in Brazil would have been the last World Cup they qualified for, which
So
is
if I
that's
if
12 years ago.
their team is it's really good. And how that
Yeah,
team is obviously not gelling together. You know, you've got Donnarumma in goal, a back three, which is the game they last played. You know, they've got Mancini, they've got Bastoni and Calafiori, which I think is up there with the best threes that you can potentially put together of any international squad. I think they're all really good players in their own right.
100%,
And then you've
100%.
got Politano, right wing back. DeMarco, I think DeMarco's fantastic left wing back.
Oh mate,
What a player he is.
he is like the quintessential. If you ever, probably not less so in a back four. Teams that are playing a back five, which isn't many these days, but he is like the quintessential left wing back. He is so good.
Their midfield three, you know, I think again is up there with any of the teams that are in Europe playing at their top level in
Yeah,
the World Cup and should be at the World Cup. Tonali, Locatelli, and Barella. Those
yeah,
three players alone, like if England could have that middle three, I'd take it. I would.
yeah.
You
I
know, I'd
mean,
probably add a Jude in there, but Declan Rice over maybe Locatelli. But
yeah,
I'd
but
take that middle three. I think Barella is a top player. Tonali's brilliant. You know, their front two less so. Moise Keane, which had so many chances to win that game, so many
yeah, he did, yeah,
chances. He's so many shots on goal. Ratugi as well, and then some of the players coming on. You know, Spinazzola, Frezzetti, Esposito. There's so many players, but I think it's the state of Italian football right now. It's not a place that you want to go and play football. There's so many issues. You know, I've read up about it, and because they've failed to miss out on the 3 times, is that the
yeah,
stadium's not revolutionised themselves. The money is just not there. The pull is not there for these players to go. The quality of the league is poor. The amount of international players coming out of Italy is lower because the amount of international players that are in the league right now. You know, look at Como. Como's
yeah.
side does not have a single Italian in it in their starting 11, which is I
No,
think is mental for an Italian side that's pushing up for the top 4 in that league. I understand they're not winning it, but they're pushing for top 4. They're playing some of the best football you've seen in Italy right now under Cesc Fabregas. But the fact that Como don't have a single Italian in their starting 11, it just shows that the league is just not producing the young talent. You know, whereas you think back in the day when they won the World Cup,
yeah,
majority of their players were playing week in, week out in the Italian league for the top Italian sides.
yeah. Well, you think about it. Okay, we'll just go. Okay, Inter Milan. I'm pretty 99% certain they're top of the Serie A at the moment, aren't they? Inter Milan. Their front two, Lautaro Martinez,
Yeah.
unbelievable footballer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Thuram as well. Obviously, he plays up front for them as well. Argentinian, Lautaro Martinez. French is Thuram. No Italians there. So, and because I was looking at the Italian side, and you talk about their front two, Moise Kean and Retegui. Moise Kean plays in a 50-50 Florentina side, and Retegui plays in the Saudi league. Now, no
Yeah.
disrespect to the Saudi league, but if you're gonna want like a really strong international team, you'd want your striker playing in Italy in the club, in the country that he's supposed to be playing in. I mean, you look at Donnarumma, doesn't play in Italy, plays at Man City. Sandro Tonali, probably their best midfielder out of the three that
Yeah,
played,
definitely. Yeah.
doesn't
Well, up
play in
there with
Italy.
Barella. I think Barella's a top player. Top player.
Again, Barella, yes, but Barella's playing in the best team in the Serie A. But
Yeah.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
you can't get all of the players from Inter Milan. Like, okay, DeMarco, yes, Bastoni, yes, they both play for Inter Milan as well. But you go further down the list, okay, AC Milan, off the top of my head, don't think there's any AC Milan players in the Italian side that
Nope.
played. Obviously, Mancini plays for Roma, I believe. Obviously, Locatelli plays for Juventus. Politano, I think, is still at Napoli. But there's no AC Milan players. But you look at the AC Milan week in, week out, they have Rafael Leao up front. They have Christian Pulisic. They have these types of players, but they're brought in from other leagues that, like you say, they're not producing enough homegrown Italian talent.
No, and I think that is one of the major key reasons why they are where they are, and especially they're not young, and they're not outstanding players. But I also link, and I know what you're saying about the Italian league, and we've got some of the players. One player in that team that just lost against Bosnia, one of them plays for Napoli. One, they won the league last year.
Yeah.
They won the league,
Yeah.
and you're saying about Scott McTominay being, unbelievable for them, and he's in it. They're just not producing the players, but equally in Europe as well. How far has Juventus gone in the last 10 years in any of the cup competitions in Europe? They haven't. They haven't gone very far. Napoli, the same. Inter Milan are the only team that have been pushing, and there's only 3 players in that starting 11 that play for Inter Milan. Only 3.
Yeah.
2 on the bench, in Esposito and Frattesi, but the major players, again, like you said, Lautaro Martinez, not Italian. You've got Marcus Thuram, not Italian. Your main creative outlet in Inter Milan's team in Calahoglu, Henrik Mkhitaryan, not Italian. So these players are just not being produced, and it's a big cultural issue, not just for what Gattuso can get out of them, but that team should be good enough to qualify for the World Cup.
Yeah, especially no disrespect to Bosnia, obviously, but they're still playing Edin Dzeko up front. I was speaking to my brother about this.
41.
I was speaking to my brother about this the other day, and we were talking about the Bosnia Italy game.
Yeah.
And he was there like, "What? Edin Dzeko still plays?" I'm like, "Yeah, clearly."
Oh,
but the fact that obviously they're still playing Edin Dzeko up front, fabulous footballer. Don't get me wrong, but Italy should be beating them, shouldn't they? They should be. There's no excuses. There's nothing. You've put their 11 versus Italy's 11, and you go, yeah. But
same as the Danish going out as well. Have Denmark not qualified? Again, some really good players. But one of the teams that I was watching a little bit of the highlights of, and I was watching actually the full game because they were on at the time in the pub that we were in, was Turkey. And I just want to say, Arda Güler. I think he could be up there with one of the best players in the world in a few years. I think he is magical to watch.
Special footballer, isn't he?
His sense of awareness of space, his agility when he's got the ball, his dribbling, but also his game-winning moments. He won the game for him. And I just think he's just got that in him. And he's only young footballer, and I think he's got so much more to go. I just hope that he continues to play week in, week out for Real Madrid, because it seems to be when he does play that they maybe don't have the best results in the world, but he's been playing better this season. Even though they've been struggling a little bit, he has been playing a lot better and getting those games under his belt, which he needs.
I think this goes back to my point about almost slightly similar to the Max Dowman thing we spoke about before. You think with players like Arda Güler, they've got obviously that Mastantuono as well at Real Madrid, I think is really good. They've got a lot of young players coming through who they've signed, and they've almost done it the right way these days. Obviously, Real Madrid are known for signing Galacticos. Obviously, yes, they've signed the Mbappes and the Jude Bellinghams.
They have signed a lot of good players, mate, yeah.
They've signed the Mbappes and the Jude Bellinghams of the world, but on the flip side, they have been better in recent years of buying younger, unknown talent. Like you look at Camavinga, for example. Obviously, he was sought after. Obviously, Mastantuono, Arda Güler, and you just hope
Vinny
and
Jr.
pray that
Vinny Jr. wasn't anything. He's just one of them. Like a Neymar prodigy, wasn't he? Like they bought him from a South American club. They thought he was going to be really, really good, but no one could explain how good he is right now. So they have done better, like you say.
I just hope that the Arda Gülers of the Real Madrid side get the game time and get the development like Vinicius Junior has. Vinny Junior wasn't the finished product when he came to Real Madrid. But people thought, he's a bit average. Why is he playing for Real Madrid? And now you can't not start him.
No.
So I just hope that they get the development like a Vinny Junior. Hopefully.
So that is the international break complete, and some things that happened throughout the international break. One little bit I wanted just to touch on before we get on to some of the bigger topics. Wolfsburg, they're banging trouble at the bottom. They are second from bottom in the Bundesliga. And the reason I bring that up is because they are a massive, massive club, Wolfsburg. And I
Yeah,
know this happens in Germany a lot, where the big sides, they go down. Hamburg was in the second division for ages. Schalke were in the second division for ages. I think they are now. They're in the second division right now. And they're a massive, massive team.
yeah,
But Wolfsburg, they've got Christian Eriksen playing for them. The other lads I don't recognise the names of, but, Christian Eriksen, he was a top footballer, and again playing for Denmark, and obviously I think he scored his penalty in the game that they lost to not qualify for
yeah,
the World Cup. But I think there's got to be more things done, especially in these top leagues. I think to secure these massive clubs, it must be just the way they're ran. But you can't tell me that Wolfsburg should be worse than the likes of, Freiburg, Mainz. Union Berlin have had a massive push, but they should be better than those teams. Bremen, Werder Bremen, and FC Köln are both in that relegation battle. St. Pauli, they're massive, massive clubs. But yeah, that's a German league. And just recently, last night, Messi and Suarez scoring the first goals in the new Inter Miami Stadium, in the luscious pink. And it was a massive occasion for the new stadium in Inter Miami that's cost over $1 billion to make. But they scored the first goals. They drew 2-2. But Messi and Suarez, of course, they score in those games. The first goals at their new stadium. So big up to them. And then finally, just finishing off, is a certain Igor Tudor was sacked in an international break. We were calling for it in the last podcast. That he should be sacked. And they've brought in Nigel De Zerbi.
Oh, Nige.
Nigel De Zerbi. That will make no sense to anyone.
No, but only me and Liam will understand the Nigel De Zerbi reference there. But yeah.
Nigel De Zerbi in at Spurs. What's your thoughts on that?
Panic from Spurs straight away. I think panic just screams to me. I mean, there was a couple of weeks ago, obviously, when Igor Tudor was appointed, De Zerbi didn't want it. Now all of a sudden he does want it. Reports have come out saying he's like the third highest paid manager in the league now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just I really, really do think Spurs are fully panicking, because they must have just obviously, because he rejected it well, apparently he rejected it a few weeks back. They must have literally just thrown everything at him just to say, well, you have to. And I don't mind it. I mean, Nige has been a good manager for Brighton in the Premier League before. But he doesn't stay very long, does he? Doesn't stay very long.
We've now started this podcast, and we have a lot of conversations off camera about these managers. And Roberto De Zerbi, Nigel De Zerbi. Nigel, I was saying towards the back end of his tenure at Brighton, when he gets the gripe and he gets annoyed at things that are going on around the club, not being backed or supported, he just goes, I don't care how we play. Sorry, the opposite effect. I really care how we play. Yeah. However, I don't care if we lose, and we will keep playing the same way, whether we concede goals, score goals. And I think that he will get Spurs out of the relegation trouble. I think he will. They aren't going down, mate. They aren't. But he is long-term. I think they're going to get in the same situation again. Maybe not relegation scraps, but he will keep playing the way he's playing. He'll still tell Cristian Romero to keep passing into midfield, into Matel Sarr or whatever his name is, still passing into him and losing the ball and then conceding because Vicario is terrible. I don't think long term it's a bad appointment, but I think in the short term it's probably the best one because it's better than Igor Tudor by a long shot.
100%. And I always feel like, I mean, if it was me and I was in charge of Spurs, I would have thrown that money at Sean Dyche.
Absolutely, I was saying that. Absolutely, throw it at him.
But I have I get it. They don't want another manager on a short-term deal because let's face it, yes, if Sean would have kept them up, 100%, no doubt about it. If they had appointed him, they would have been up, 100%. But do they want to go into next season with Sean Dyche in charge? Now, I don't know where they get the arrogance from, Spurs and Spurs fans and Spurs people, but I have a funny
I'd love to
feeling
know.
that the name Sean Dyche doesn't help with their ego, unfortunately. And that's nothing against Sean Dyche, your top coach, absolutely top, and deserved a top job like a Spurs, or quote unquote top job like a Spurs. But I almost feel like it's just pure arrogance of them. Be like, nah, we don't want him. He's below us. We want to go for, obviously, they've gone for Roberto De Zerbi. But I agree with what you said. I'm not 100% certain that they will definitely stay up. I'm not. I'm still not, because I still feel like that first game that they've got, I'm not 100% certain who they're playing. I'm not sure if you can check while I spout on. That's a massive game. I mean, obviously, I know all of their games are massive, Spurs at the minute, but they have to get 3 points.
Sunderland away, their next one. I think they'll win. I said Sunderland and Wolves they'll beat. They'll also beat Leeds at home. I think they will, and they'll stay up. They've got Brighton the next game after that as well. So that'll be interesting.
That will be interesting. Two managers that you love, by the way, in De Zerbi and Hertzler. So, you definitely won't be watching that game.
No.
But no, if they do stay up, fair play. They shouldn't have been in the position that they're in anyway.
No.
I'm not, it's not. I'm not going to celebrate it. I don't particularly care whether they stay up or go down. To be completely honest, I think it's embarrassing from a club standpoint to be in the position that they're in. But I agree with what you're saying about his tenure and stuff like that. I think they're going to have another Ange situation. Now, I love Ange. Love Ange Postecoglou. Thought he was brilliant for the Premier League, but he did not change the way they played.
No.
And they
Not all.
they won some games, but then towards the back end they started losing a lot more than they won. Hence the position that they were in last year. Yes, obviously I know that they beat United in the Europa League. We move on, but I have a funny feeling that the De Zerbi reign is going to end the same way. Like you say, he doesn't change the way he plays. It's brilliant when they win, and at Brighton he could have got away with losing a few more games than he did. And obviously, I know he didn't get sacked at Brighton because they're not that type of club, and they were still doing okay for the club stature of Brighton. But at Spurs, mate, if they start next season poorly, Christmas time comes, is he going to throw the toys out the pram? If the summer doesn't go the way he wants,
he definitely is.
If the summer doesn't go the way he wanted it to, with the upstairs noise that they got at Spurs at the minute, Christmas time again, mate, we could be sat here again saying, "Ooh, the Spurs going to appoint again," because
I hope we
it's
are.
that
I hope
bad.
we are. I hope they liquidate. Right. Just want to finish up the podcast with predictions for the weekend, Dad. So simply, it's round 32 in the Premier League. I just want you to simply quick fire tell me who's going to win. Okay. So this is Adam's predictions for round of 32.
Definitely going to get all these right.
West Ham or Wolves?
West Ham.
Arsenal or Bournemouth?
Arsenal.
Brentford, Everton?
Draw.
Burnley, Brighton?
Brighton.
Liverpool, Fulham?
Draw.
Crystal Palace, Newcastle?
Draw.
Forest, Villa?
Draw.
Sunderland, Tottenham?
Sunderland.
Chelsea, City?
Sunderland. City.
Man United, Leeds?
United, obviously.
Can't stand Leeds.
No, we're at home. We'll beat Leeds.
And those odds on Paddy Power are 1,500 to 1. There you go.
Yeah. Hey, if anyone puts money on them predictions and wins, mate, comment it on the YouTube because I want to know and I want to share.
I want you to put a tenner on it. Put a tenner on it. Yeah. Listen to it back and put a tenner on it. Right.
Right. I will.
That is us for How Did They Play this weekend and this week.
Yes.
So tune into our next episode on Thursday, where we look at the TQQ and who goes into that in our individual sides. Take care.